All right. I think we're probably going to get started here in like a minute. They are doing a live stream in the back, so don't do anything too crazy, Mr. Flaherty. Okay. All right. So they'll get us started here. So we'll just kind of be a little awkward for like 30 seconds here, and then we'll get started. I hope. All right. So thank you all so much for being here for not only back to school night, but also our state of the school this evening too. We're really hoping tonight will give you a good refresher on kind of progress that's been happening the past few years, the vision moving forward, and we're just excited to have the chance to possibly answer some questions you might have as well. I know we prayed earlier as a group, but we're going to pray again for our friends on the live stream too, because I know they need it at home, right? Okay. All right. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, thank you so much for the wonderful people you have brought into our community, both this year and the past few years. As we have gone through our strategic plan since 2021 and gone through that process and all of the different stakeholders that have been involved in that and prepared us and brought us to the progress that we're going to be discussing tonight. We thank you and pray for your guidance as we move forward with our vision for the school, for our students, for the parents and guardians, and for everyone that cares about Peoria Notre Dame. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Awesome. So, we are having the wonderful time of hearing from our COO, Grant McInnes, and Jacqueline Kelly, our principal, this evening. So the two actually share co-leadership role and kind of have different areas that they oversee in the school. So they'll be talking about their different realms this evening. And they'll be taking it away, but before they do, we will let you know that we will have a question and answer portion in the evening. So if you feel more comfortable having it written down, I will pass these out, and then we'll kind of have that availability of me reading the questions and providing answer, and they'll provide the answers. And then if for some reason you'd like to just ask it directly, that's always an option as well later on this evening. So I'll allow these two to take it away while I pass these out.
Thank you so much for being here. Like Annie said, we are going to give you an overview of some of the progress that we've made and some of the changes that we've made that we're really excited about, but we also want it to be an opportunity to dialogue with you and get your questions and give you any clarifications that we can. So please do ask questions either in person, or you can write them on the note cards too, would be great. And if we run out of time and there are things you would still like answered, feel free to email either of us or call us or schedule a meeting. We love to talk about all things PND, so don't hesitate to reach out at any point. We're going to start with our mission statement because it does explain and inform a lot of changes that we've made, and it ultimately drives all the decisions that we make. Anytime we make a decision or talk about anything difficult or even easy, we go back to the mission statement to ensure that we ultimately are forming disciples of Jesus Christ in a community of Catholic faith, knowledge, and service. Those are our pillars. That's why we're here. That's what we're excited about. And so a lot of the things that we're going to explain tonight are going to fall under that mission statement. The purpose of tonight, kind of like I said, is to illuminate how we live our mission statement and why it's so important to us, to share our vision for Catholic education here at Peoria Notre Dame, to connect the progress that we've made to the strategic plan that so many people put a lot of time and effort and talent into, and then to answer any questions that you might have. Even though this doesn't necessarily show up in either of our domains, I love to communicate the vision of what we want for Peoria Notre Dame. And obviously, faith is at the foundation of everything that we do. And we want our students to leave here as lifelong Catholics or Christians who are passionate about the faith and who are ready to live it out in the real world. We don't want faith to just be something that's here, but through not only our theology classes, but through all of our faith offerings, through campus ministry, through the sacraments, we want our students to experience the fullness of Catholicism and leave this building prepared to share that with others. As far as academics go, we really value the learning process over the end result. I know students care about grades, and grades are important, but ultimately, the struggle and the progress that students make to ultimately get where they want to be is something that we're really focused on. And you'll see that in some of the initiatives that we have, that we really want students to learn how to learn and how to think critically and get to a good place rather than just get an answer easily. We're also emphasizing varied pathways to support diverse learners. We have students with so many wonderful gifts and talents, and we want to ensure that they can be successful and that we offer them pathways for success. And like I said, that goes with success in all disciplines. So traditionally, we think of success in academics as the honors and AP courses, but our students experience so much success in disciplines beyond that, including the fine arts, and we really want to highlight those successes and make students feel valued for those. Academics is our first domain. I recognize that there's a lot of changes for this year, and for some of you who may be new to PND, maybe the changes aren't necessarily new because you've never been here before, but I recognize that those changes are significant for our families who have students here before. And before we talk about the reasons why, I just want to thank anybody who has given feedback on those changes, who has been patient with those changes, and whose students have been patient with us as we've worked through all the changes. It really has been a labor of love, starting with a strategic plan to make the changes happen, and I'm so excited to share the results and the progress with you, but also just to express my gratitude for all the work that everybody's done to make those changes possible and to support them. The biggest change is the move from trimesters to semesters in our modified block schedule. Essentially, students are in a class 4 days a week. 3 of the days they're in all 7 classes. 2 of the days they're in 90-minute classes, 3 one day, 4 the other. That allows us to do a whole lot of things, but I think probably more than anything else, as a former teacher, what I get most excited about is instructional time. And so the move to semesters and the move to the modified block schedule ultimately allows students to get more instruction in their courses over the course of the entire year. We are also moving with the class of 2028 to a Latin honor system that's moving away from class rank and going to the ranking system that you frequently see in college, so the Summa, the Magna, and the Cum Laude. Again, to show that students in a variety of disciplines, whether those are honors classes or not, whether those are art or social studies or English, whatever students are interested in, they can achieve success in and be celebrated for those successes. People give me a hard time for this because this is probably one of the things that I'm most excited about overall, but our winter rim period is 2 weeks after Christmas break. And actually, before I get there, one of the things I'm really excited about for semesters is that they will end at Christmas break. So students will take finals, and then they can enjoy the joy of the Christmas season, which is something that we didn't have in the trimesters because they would go and have to study and do work as they were in the middle of the second trimester before. So Christmas can be experienced as a family, and the joy of the Christmas season can be experienced without worrying about finals or homework or anything like that. And then we'll come back and jump into the winter rim period, and that's 2 weeks where students take 2 classes over the course of those 2 weeks in things that they are passionate about or maybe just want to try. We have teachers that are going to teach calligraphy and rock climbing and pickleball and creative writing and Model United Nations. And for our seniors, they can do job shadows and internships over those 2 weeks. Again, allowing students to get the opportunity to learn things outside the standard curriculum, but try things they may be interested in and see if they like it for future careers or for college, or maybe decide it's not for them. On the faculty and staff end, because our strategic plan did ask us to recruit and retain the best faculty, and we're incredibly proud of our faculty, and we want them to know that we support them and value the work that they do. We did increase faculty and staff salaries this year, 9 to 10%, and we've worked really hard to recruit at job fairs and Newman Centers and put things out at K-12 JobSpot just to attract a wider group of teachers. Catholic identity is at the core of everything that we do. One of the nice things about the modified block schedule is that it gives us the opportunity for late start Wednesdays, and today was one of those, so your student got to school late or they hung out in the Commons until 9 a.m. But it allows us on those Wednesday mornings to have an opportunity to develop faculty. And one of the things we do monthly is faith formation. And we know that forming disciples is so important, and we know that we want to be disciples and formed as disciples as well. And so the schedule allows us to do that without any conflict with instructional time. Another exciting thing that the schedule allows us to do is community and house time. On Wednesdays, we have students either whole school or in their houses, one of their 6 houses, participate in a variety of activities. Today, students went outside and they played spike ball, they threw on frisbees, they walked around the track, and we know that unstructured free time, especially at the high school level, is so important for students to kind of take a break from the tough, rigorous academics that they're doing, and taking that break actually improves the academics that they do. So we are super excited to be able to offer that to our students, not only to give them a break, but to build community. One of the things that we're really focusing on this year is community, and students and faculty and staff socializing with one another, putting down the screens, and just having the opportunity and the joy to be around each other and get to know each other and develop friendships. We do have daily mass 5 times a week. That's an increase from last year. Last year we had it 4 times a week. This year we're blessed to have it 5 times a week, which is really exciting. And then we have adoration 2 times a week available to faculty, staff, and students. And we do have families come in as well and take an hour of adoration. So anybody's welcome to come to that, and that they shouldn't be in conflict with anything else that we're doing, but should ultimately be the reason that we're here, and they are. And student life ties into everything that I've talked about already too, but we have phone-free Flex Fridays, which is a little bit more unstructured time where students put away their phones and have the opportunity on Fridays to eat lunch at any time over the course of the lunch period, but also have the opportunity to go into different teachers' classrooms and do different projects or activities. So some of the sisters have rosary making, there's Lego building, some rooms are quiet study hall rooms for students to get work done, and we're really excited to give students the opportunity to make choices that help them and give them some free time, again, away from the rigors of the school day, to build community or to get an extra study period. Community and house time I already mentioned, but we're excited about that. Athletic and student leadership retreats really highlight the focus on faith and the integration of faith into everything that we do and everything that we're about. And we are also really focusing on attendance. That goes along with building community because we want students here, we want them in the building, we want their thoughts, we want their questions, we want their perspectives, and we're a better school when all our students are here. So we're really focusing this year on students being here and being here on time because we know we're a better school when they're here. I know that was kind of quick and an overview of everything, but we do want to get to your questions too. So if you have any questions related to those domains, hold on to those until after Grant talks, and then we will take those too.
So I'm going to go through these, like Jacqueline said. This is more of an open dialogue. We think that that's a part that's important for the families. You know, we're still a smaller school, 500 and growing. Thank God. We're increasing enrollment, but we want to be transparent with the families, and we want you guys to feel open to talk to us. So open dialogue is a great way to do that, I think. A lot of this stuff is just pushed out to the families, and we want to be available for you guys to ask questions. So I'm going to go through these kind of quick on purpose. I might. Advancement. So these are the separate domains that were identified in the strategic plan. I oversee stuff that supports the day-to-day stuff that Jacqueline just went over. So advancement, we've made great strides in this. I went 3 years back just because that's kind of where the strategic plan kind of kicked off. And we're up 300%. We went from like $450,000 a year for annual contributions to about 1.4 a year. So with that, we're able to do some stuff like increase wages and like fix the facility up a little bit more. And we were able to do a lot with student assistance to try to help families with, because we know it's a burden to come here, right? A lot of people make a huge sacrifice to do that. So thank you all that come here. That's a support to the school and the mission. The reason why we're able to do that is we centralize fundraising and we improve communication with our donors, and we just developed a stronger relationship with the donors. So Instead of doing, a lot of bake sales and stuff like that, transactional stuff, we're communicating the mission to the donors and they're coming in, and that really supercharges the efforts there, so. Enrollment. Miss Annie Carroll's back there in the back. She's a superstar if you were around earlier, but that's everybody really. And enrollment's gone up. So 2 years in a row, we've had increased enrollment, and that's the first time in like 20 years that that's happened. So it's a good metric. It's not the only metric that we look at. There's plenty of them to show success, but that is a definite one that we really appreciate. And we did that through the strategic plan. When I look back, all of those objectives were what we're doing. So improved relationship with the parishes. We have quarterly meetings with the priests. Those started to kick off after COVID, and they kind of ramped up, and now 8 to 10 priests will come to those every quarter, and they're involved. They're asking questions, and it's just overall a great thing. Improved communication awareness and financial aid. Some of that has to do with our donors and advancement that allowed us to kind of do appropriate evaluation of families. So if you know anybody, have them reach out to us. The idea there is, and I tell that to Ms. Carroll, is we don't want any family, especially that has invested in a primary school already, to leave at the high school level just based on finances. So we work with everybody, and feel free to reach out anytime if you know someone, or just encourage them to reach out. And then also just our relationship with the primary schools. We want to be a community. A lot of people that come here, they have kids in the primary school too. So I want to say this was Ms. Carroll that took this on, but Prayer Pals is an awesome thing that's up there, because it's our students praying for the students at primary schools as they receive sacraments, and that's part of the mission, right? So just a beautiful way to develop a relationship. Facilities and finances. Facilities. This is a big facility, and it's kind of old. So this was a big emphasis, and it still is, and we're making big strides on it. We had an outside firm come in and do an assessment. So an outside engineering firm kind of did an assessment of what we have. That was completed late last year, like November. Then we created a committee that looked at that assessment with outside experts that came in, and they're looking at what we have, and they're working with vendors to say, here's next steps to improve. I'm a numbers guy, I'm not really a facilities guy, so that committee is just very valuable to the school to have those experts come in. And the goal there long-term is to come up with a long-term facility plan. 5 to 10 years, evaluate assets, look at the structures you have, what are you lacking to be a competitive high school, and then formulate a plan with the experts, get buy-in from the community, and then execute that plan. So we're in the stages of doing that. It's a lot of work to kind of get that set, but I'm very grateful where we're at right now. It's good. It's refreshing to know that we're looking forward on that. Finances, I did a half a slide on this. I think people are probably, two things rub people, they're sick of two things. My blue shirts probably, and talking finances, so I'll go real quick. Establish a committee, and we're looking at a K through 12 tuition model. That's the same thing. Like everybody that's in this, it's a diocesan high school, diocesan grade school, so it makes sense to look at these families, right? That we want big families to come here. So let's look at it as a holistic family thing of Catholic education. Let's try to figure out a discount that's appropriate, and then see if we can do that. We're in the stages right now to kind of test that model with a primary school. But again, a lot of background work, a lot of support from committees to help make that happen. And then improving the budget, just when you're talking larger facility improvements, the finance committee is kind of focused on, okay, how do we tackle that and make it doable? So all those things are great. Governance. So a consultative board was established. I think we had our first meeting in November of 2022. And that consists of area priests, community members that are experts in their areas that are very vested in the school, and then the superintendent, the assistant superintendent. And we meet quarterly, and we just discuss challenges on these plans, right? So, and gain support from them and just leverage them. In this way too, there's advisory committees that I mentioned, finance, every domain, even that Principal Kelly talked about, has a committee. That committee has a representative on that committee that is also on the board. So these committees are doing work, looking into details, and we're meeting with them, and then they're bringing it to the board level, updating the board, and we're kind of moving forward. So before you cut me off. Thank you, everybody, for, I mean, all this stuff that's, I like to say there's a lot of momentum. Like, for example, we just had a gala, and the goal was to get a white bus for the kids. We really needed an activity bus. And then after that gala, it was the most successful gala we've ever had, and we got 2 buses. So like, stuff like that is just awesome, excellent momentum, and we want to keep this going. Enrollment going up is awesome, and that allows us to continue to do all this stuff day to day to support the students. So thanks to contributing.
Awesome. Okay, at this time we'll take any questions. If you wrote them on your index cards, we'll take those. If you just want to shout them out, or if we can get you a mic too, we are happy to answer any and all questions.
Sweet. Thank you, Mr. Targos. Okay. There you go.
Thank you. Can you just explain that K-12 tuition plan again? It kind of went over my head.
Mine too.
Yeah, sure. So the idea there is, it's an in-depth thing, but our student information system is similar in all the primary schools. So if you think about it, like the enrollment process to come to the high school shouldn't be so messy. So on that side of stuff, transferring the kid from 8th grade to 9th grade, the systems are built to be like a school system. They're built to take a big school system, and we kind of chop it up. So on that side, it's like the student should seamlessly come over here and be not starting over. It's almost like you're enrolling all over into a new school. That's on the student information side. So I think the software and stuff is in place. We just have to kind of turn stuff on and test it and figure out if that works on that side. More importantly, our fax tuition side of the software is also used by primary schools, to where it's like a family application where you list all your kids, but we don't see everything. And so we're kind of working blind with the primary schools. And those are meant to sync too. They're kind of designed to do that, but they never were done that in the past. So the idea is, if we could get those together, then you could start looking at families that have a 2nd grader, 3rd grader, 5th grader, 6th grader, and then just had a freshman come in. Because what we're seeing now is, at these primary schools, you get family discounts. It's kind of set up pretty well to say, hey, have a bunch of kids and bring them here, because you're getting half, usually across there. But then when the one kid comes up to the high school level, you lose that big discount kid there, and then it's a blast here, because just our structure is different with what we have to do as a high school. It's just more costly. And so the idea is, eventually we could have something where it would project, hey, this is what your true cost is, and this is what it's projected to be at your freshman. And it's more of a, right now we understand that people are looking ahead and planning, and we need to get to them earlier and kind of talk to them, but this would make it so much easier, and it's kind of designed that way. So there has to be some testing done to figure that out, and we have to look at approvals and stuff like that, and we also have to look at the cost, because the idea on the back end is, okay, now we're gonna discount that, and who's gonna take that discount, and what parish, and then what parish would be able to do, parishes would be able to do different levels. So that's like the finance committee, and we're gonna start running models just to see. Does that answer your question? That's kind of where we're going towards. Yeah.
Just to parlay on that, so you're actually thinking the parish then would participate like they do at the grade school level?
What do you mean the parish would participate?
Like if my kids from West Sacrament, like I get a bunch there, and then they start coming to Notre Dame, the discount that Blessed Sacrament provides would then provide to my students that are coming to Notre Dame.
Exactly. Well, if that parish does it, would depend on something. We would have to make it tied to ordinary income or something in that parish, because everybody has a difference. So all the parishes are invested in the high school with an assessment, where they're feeding us an assessment monthly, where what's determined kind of out of our hands and stuff like that. But the idea is, to us, like, our mission is to get kids in, form disciples of Jesus Christ. So we would rather have students even at a discounted rate than an assessment, right? So, but Blessed Sacrament is far different from, St. Mark, or all of them are different levels, and we have to figure out who would be taking the discount. But it would be a discount that flows right through.
Okay.
so you wouldn't lose it. That's my idea. Now, can we afford it? We got to work on a model. So right now we're kind of looking at St. Phil's a little bit, just because I've been talking to parishes. When I look at families, I'll just do it manually, but it gets to be a lot. So systematically, it would be just a wonderful thing for families, I think.
I like the winterim idea. I think that's going to be fun. How do they sign up for the classes, and is there already a list and things like that? Have you thought that far?
Yeah, great question. We did put out a rough draft based on what faculty had indicated interest in the past. We have had a little turnover in faculty, so we're getting new faculty on, and they're coming up with their winterim classes. So the brochure that will go out to students and families will be finalized by the end of September, and signups will happen via Sign Up Genius, because certain classes have to get capped at a certain amount, like rock climbing can only take so many. So that's coming, and I think that's going to be a popular one too. So that is going to happen at the end of September, early October, and we are going to prioritize seniors register first, then juniors, then sophomores, then freshmen.
Actually, this is an academic question. Do you think that P&D will get to the point where a student can graduate from high school with their associate's degree, similar to what they can do at Richwoods, now that we're on the semesters?
That's a great question. And we have done a lot of research into dual credit courses and what makes the most sense for our students. And the graduating from here with an associate's makes sense if students know exactly what they want to go into. But if they don't know the field that they want to go into and are just kind of taking random classes to meet the needs of the associate degree and the number of hours, we do know that sometimes students get surprised when they get to a school and still have to take a 200 level class or maybe an intro class for a major, because in high school they didn't quite know what they wanted to do. So we, instead of offering the associates, we offer students a variety of opportunities to get credit specifically for courses that will transfer in Illinois. So whether that's AP credit, which is more nationwide, or dual credit through ICC, we want to make sure that the credits that students are getting make sense for them, even if they decide to change what they want to go into while they're still in high school. So as we look at all the ways we offer for students to get college credit, those are either credits that schools across Illinois will accept through ICC, and there's an agreement with ICC that they will accept those at any Illinois institution, or universities that accept AP credit.
So you mentioned various committees that report back to the board. Who makes up the board? How are the board members? Are they voted in? What's that whole process? Or is that through the diocese? I don't know.
Am I on? Yeah. That's a good question. So there is terms for the board members that we're going to stagger. So it's still in the first term right now, and then we'll vote people in to fill slots for specific areas. And some of this was this pot that we looked at were people. There was quite a few people that were involved in the strategic plan. It was maybe 50 people that came in to support that, and that was the pot. And now we're getting up to the point where there's bylaws about voting and terms there that'll be staggered. So the board will be switching a few members by design every few years. And as it gets rolling, it'll be new every year or so. There will be small amounts that switch. And then the committees, a lot of the times the committees they were originally formed about the strategic plan when it kicked off, but the committees, I mean, reach out. If you think there's a domain there and you have some knowledge in that area, or you think you could help, Those are established kind of in their area. So they may have, we want to have 3 people, and that's what we're rolling with. So those are kind of, I think, separate from the board. The board's more formal. But we really appreciate the outside support. I mean, that was a huge thing that I think a lot of that momentum going on was people, experts coming in. I mentioned the facility one. It's just a game changer. When you're talking to an outside vendor about HVAC and it's this gigantic school, they would normally be talking to me, and now they're talking to somebody that's like retired but has done it all. They know it by first name, and then it's like, okay, this is relaxing then that they know their stuff and they're here to support the school. So does that answer your question? Great. And I think that the key with this is like we want you to be able to reach out, because like the thing that makes PND special is the community, and it's like the family atmosphere. The faith is there, and we want you to be comfortable reaching out and meeting. Like, feel free to reach out, email, meet. It might take a little bit. It's a hectic week, but I'll get back to you and then discuss, because I enjoy that. The mission is why I'm here, but that's a sweet thing about the school. That's different than my experience in the area, even with the smaller public school when I grew up. So just feel free to reach out to us and chat with us and stuff.
Especially if a question hits you on the way home, you're like, shoot, I should have asked that. Definitely shoot us an email, give us a phone call tomorrow. We'd love to hear from you and answer all your questions and talk about the great things that our students and our faculty and staff are doing.
If there are no more questions, we'll also just note that quarterly Grant releases a COO update that does go to all of our current parents, as well as many other stakeholders too. So you will see updates, but sometimes, you know, when we use this verbiage with the domains and with the strategic plan, it's helpful to have context, which is why we really appreciate your time being here in asking these questions and hearing about some of the progress and the vision moving forward as well. I think that's it if we don't have any other questions, but thank you so much. We're very excited about everything that's happening at PND. There's been a ton of positive momentum the past few years, and we're really excited to see that continue to grow throughout the next decade as well, and we appreciate your role in making sure that that happens. So thank you very much for attending.